All right, so today we're covering 7.2, which is adding and subtracting polynomials. We're going to do a couple of examples for both adding and subtracting. So our first example is we're adding 3a squared plus 8, and that is a binomial of degree 2, and we're adding it to 5a minus 1. And that is also a binomial, but this one has degree 1 because of this. All right, so if I had a number out front, then I would need to distribute this number. But if I multiply everything by 1, then it doesn't change. So we actually don't need the parentheses in this case. So 3a squared plus 8. And same here. So if I distribute this 1 right here, that doesn't change any values inside. So I can just write the values as they are. And now we're going to look for like terms, okay? So a like term has two things: the same variables and the same exponents. So I want to say, do I have any other a squareds in this? No, I don't. So 3a squared doesn't combine with anything. And I'm going to start with my highest degree, which is the 2. So that's why I do that one first. My next highest degree is a 1. So I'm going to say, do we have any other terms with degree 1? Nope. So that one doesn't combine. However, I do have a positive 8 and a negative 1. Those are like terms, and I can combine. So positive 8 and negative 1 add to give us 7. So that would be my final answer. I have no more like terms to combine, so we're done. Now, another way that you can do this is to stack them vertically. So let's say we have negative x squared plus 5x plus 4, and we're adding 3x squared minus 8x plus 9. Okay, again, I don't need the parentheses because I'm distributing a positive 1, which doesn't change anything. But I could stack this so that it's one on top of the other. Since we're adding, we can just add straight down and see how my like terms are all right on top of each other. Those have the same variable with the same exponent. These have the same variable with the same exponent. And these both are lacking variables. So if I add straight down, then I get 13. This is negative 3x, and this is 2x squared. Okay. Now, just for literacy terms, so this is your constant term. This is your linear term. And this is your quadratic term. And I know that based off of the exponent. Okay, so I'm looking linear. Quadratic has a 2 as an exponent. Linear has a 1. Constant has no variable. Okay. Again, we'll see that later on, but just a quick reminder. All right, so that's adding. Now we're going to try subtracting. So when we're subtracting, we have, let's say, y squared plus 4y plus 2. And we're going to subtract another polynomial, 2y squared minus 5y minus 3. Now, before I said that we could drop the parentheses because if I distribute a positive 1, that doesn't change. So I can still drop the parentheses for the first one. However, in order to drop the parentheses for the second one, I actually have to distribute this negative 1. And I have to multiply it by every term inside the parentheses. So that's going to change the signs. So negative 1 times 2y squared is negative 2y squared. Negative 1 times negative 5 is now positive 5y. Negative 1 times negative 3 is now positive 3. And now I can actually do the exact same thing I did before in combining like terms once I've gotten rid of my parentheses. So I've got squared term, that's my highest degree, so I'm going to start with that. So y squared minus 2y squared is going to give me negative y squared. Let's see, what other like terms do we have? 4y and 5y. Okay, they're both positive. I can add them up and I get 9y. And then we also have 2 plus 3, and that would give us 5. So let's do one more example. I'm going to change my color back to purple. All right, so we have 5x squared plus 4x minus 1, and I'm subtracting 2x squared minus 6. So again, if I distribute this positive 1, the first x parentheses does not change. If I distribute this negative 1, negative 1 times 2x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times negative 6 is now positive 6. And again, I'm looking for those like terms. So highest degree is 2. I'm looking for the highest degree so that I can put it in standard form. So 5x squared minus 2x squared gives me 3x squared. 4x doesn't have any like terms, so it just stays the same. And then minus 1 and positive 6, those would combine to give me plus 5. And those are the notes for lesson 7.2, adding and subtracting polynomials.